Hey guys, it's Ariel. I just really wanted to touch on something that has been coming up recently and also today, and kind of looking back at just in moments of my life and getting to the root purpose and reason why these things kind of take place, which is when people are bothered with your light. When people are bothered with your authenticity, when people are bothered with you standing in your truths, whether that is, hey, this is how I dress, this is how I speak, this is the music I listen to, these are my favorite movies, I like this watch, I don't like that one. It's just being your unique self, right? Being in your light, meaning being in your soul purpose. Allowing your soul to take the lead and not your ego, not your mind. Your essence. For me personally, this goes back to elementary school, but also high school. So before I was corrupted with shifting myself because of societal norms, in my past, I went to Christian private school and then I was homeschooled. I did the last 3 years of public high school. That is where I was at. Just a quick little, all right? When I was being my bubbly, hyper, active, talkative, chatty, and weird, quirky self, pretending to be an animal, you know what I mean? Like, when I was being my inner child, when I was bringing my joy, when I was smiling, when I was laughing, when I was complimenting people, there were people that did not like that. This is what I'm talking about. Why are people driven to dislike someone when they are simply being joyful? From what I have realized within my own experience here is that the people that judge me, and this is a personal experience, you guys, don't know if I'm going to title it story time, but let's just see. In my personal experience, when people have been hateful, resentful, judgmental, rude bullies to me, when I was emanating my joyful, innocent, childlike self, before they destroyed that, I allowed them to destroy it, but what other really place was there to go when almost every person in my reality at that time of my life was not allowing my true essence to emerge? They were shooting me looks, they were verbally attacking me. I allowed myself to be silenced, which is why right now I'm so me. So, for instance, I used to dress in Hot Topic clothing. The Devil Wears Prada t-shirts, Asking Alexandria, Avenged Sevenfold, Pierce the Veil, Sleeping with Sirens. My older brother, both of them listened to Screamo and Deathcore, but one of them listened to more of the death metal and the other one listened to more of the Screamo bands. So I got shirts from them passed down, and since I was so intrigued by that area of life, the rock and roll, the Screamo, punk-esque, I myself shopped at Hot Topic. So I wore black, I wore eyeliner. My brothers used to call me Raccoon because of my eyes. People at school did not like this. People did not like that I was a chatterbox. I would be jumping around. My nickname was Kitty. And I was just spunky and sparky. And the popular kids did not like that at all. So I wound up changing the way that I dressed because my best friend that I had wore Hollister, Abercrombie & Fitch. She shopped at really, really expensive Goodwills for the deals on the nicer clothes. She essentially showed me my next era of style, which was more grunge, but more put together. Kind of like cardigans like this, plaid with tights and boots. It moved from being emo to now more grunge. And it was more of a more mature way to dress, but still holding on to that part of me that's very dark. I liked that kind of style. Still did not get good feedback. Better feedback, but not good feedback. Regardless, the whole point of this is that people wanted to shift me to make them more comfortable. So, it was around high school, the end of high school, that I essentially lost touch with my inner self because I started to morph into the people around me. I chameleoned, unfortunately, and I started to emanate the energy and the style of the people around me rather than just holding on to my dear inner child, which I look back and I feel like if I would have just remained who I really was, which is quite introverted in real life, reading books, headphones on, video games, writing, if I would have just remained that, my real self, my inner child, my real self, I wouldn't have went through so much turmoil that followed high school. Following high school and graduation, my life became destroyed. People got on drugs. I was around drugs. I tried them as well. It was terrible. I had people that I loved with my entire heart doing hard drugs in front of me, unable to speak because I was not around people that were it's kind of hard, you guys. I felt like I was talking to vessels without souls. And it was a plethora of people around me that fell into this drug use. I tried a few drugs a few times. I never lost myself in an addiction. That didn't hit me until my 20s. I did not fall deeply into a dependency on a substance until my 20s, which wound up being alcohol, which I'm sober from now. Proud of myself for that. But this is when I fell apart. High school and after high school, drugs. Okay, so then after I got out of the situation where I was around people that were on drugs all the time, I now moved into a situation where I was around people that were not on hard drugs all the time, but the people that I was around were still not facing the music. They were not facing the truth about their lives, about themselves. The people that I moved towards after I was around the people using hard drugs were not using hard drugs anymore, but they were still not living completely authentically in their truths. And I started to slowly see that their families have no idea who they are. I go home to a family that knows what I'm doing. I could be honest with them. They accept me for myself. These people's families knew nothing about their kids. And I was like, they're lying to themselves and their families. I know that not everybody is going to be able to have an open relationship with their parents the way that I have been privileged to. My mom and my dad know everything about me. They know every decision that I've ever made. They know every single relationship I've ever been in. They know every drug I've ever tried. They know how long I was trying them for. My parents know every single thing about me. My parents are like my best friends. My relationship with my dad could be better right now. I understand that. I have faith that everything will be okay. Ever since we lost my grandmother, my dad's mother, the one who raised me, our family has kind of broken apart. This I pray for all the time to be healed. But let me get back to the story. So when I started to realize that these friends that I was hanging around either had no relationship with their parents or it was a very wobbly, unstable, fabricated one. There was lies in their relationships with their parents. So there was lies in their relationships with their parents, and I had never seen something like this because I've always had an open communication with both of my parents since I was young, since I could remember. I knew everything about my parents and they knew everything about me. So this was something that moved me into a very grateful energy towards my family and the family that I was gifted with. The family that raised me knew everything about me. They knew about my sexuality. They knew about how it shifted and changed over time. They knew about everything, okay? So I kind of took that as a red flag in my friends that they couldn't speak to their parents and be authentic, that their parents didn't know these huge things about their kids' lives. I was like, okay, I just thought to myself, remember this. Like, I just noted it, all right? So, yeah. Okay, so This is why I'm talking about this, you guys. With these people that did not have great connections with their parents, authentic, pure chords, no lies, honesty, openness, all right? These are the same people that wound up not understanding my light, not appreciating my presence in their lives, and not understanding that the only thing that I was bringing to their lives was my authentic self, which is a very, very healing self. I was not bringing drama, and I was not bringing anything that was of darkness to my friends. What happened was they saw me living in my truths. They saw my family. They saw that I have a very authentic life, and then they wanted to shut it down. I didn't see this truth about the situation until way later down the line, you guys, when I started to introspect regarding this time of my life. These group of people were telling me, you're being too masculine, you need to be more feminine, why are you acting like one of the bros? So then I would be more feminine, and then I would wear a dress, and I would do my makeup, and then I would look elegant, and then now I'm acting what did he call me? He said that I looked like a skank because I was wearing spaghetti straps and a skirt, but I wasn't acting like a skank. I was with people that I thought I could be myself with. I wasn't twerking like other people in the group. I don't twerk. I'm sorry. I'm not hating, but I don't twerk. I dance. So how am I a skank? It's confusing. So now I'm like, I'm too masculine, now I'm too feminine. Okay, let me just completely shut down my entire soul. No, I didn't do that. I wound up being removed from that group of friends because they were just they were like imploding from the inside out. And they were projecting all of it onto me. So God, thankfully, removed me from that group of friends. Now, guess what? I was only around people that actually understood me, which wound up being one more person. And then I moved back with my family. My family that was like, oh my gosh, we love you. Like, we remember you. And then I was being myself again. There's a few people that were in my family that I think were trying to get me to not be myself, but it didn't work. God removed me from there too, and then moved me over here where I am now. And now I'm completely remembering everything exactly the way it went down. And I'm like, whoa. So a recap. I was bullied in elementary school. Then I was removed from that school. I was homeschooled. Then I went to public high school. The whole time I was homeschooled, since I was in my own room and in my own house, there was nobody to shame me or guilt me for how I dressed or how I talked or the musicals I watched or the choreographies I made or, you know what I mean? Like the playing around my neighborhood on the scooter. Like there was no negativity in my life when it was just my family and myself. All the negativity came from other kids when they didn't have families that accepted them. And that is what I am piecing together now. I can feel people's their mood, their energy. I could feel everything about them very heavily, and now I have learned how to navigate this. My whole life, people have tried to shut down my light, my love, my forgiveness, my compassion, because they lacked it. The funny thing is that when I was in high school, excuse me, I'm always burping during readings. When I was in high school, there were a lot of things that I didn't know how other people felt. I was bullied, I was cyberbullied, and people tried to get me to stop being that bubbly, talkative self. They would be like, ugh, or like, you're so annoying, or they would talk over me. They would just try to silence me. But now that I'm reconnecting with people from my past, there are so many people messaging me and DMing me, telling me, oh my gosh, like, I remember you. You were so unique. You were so cool. I loved that you had your own vibe. And then it hits me. I was actually liked for who I was. When I was hot topic, going to the library, reading my books, headphones on, I was liked when I was being myself. But I didn't realize that. Okay, so now the people are telling me, you were so cool this, I didn't get to talk to you, but like, thank you for being so kind to me when I was new to the school. You were always so nice. 2 people today have come in and just been like, thank you for being so nice. I'm really, really back to my true soul. And that is why God is showing me all of the things that I decided, like life reels. He's showing me all the moments that I decided to not be myself, to act like one of my friends, or to wear something they would wear so that I could fit in. And then I started to dislike who I was. I was no longer being Ariel. I was being somebody that was appeasing everyone in my reality. And you know what? I became somebody that was trying to appease everybody in my reality, and I destroyed who I was. And they still didn't wind up liking me. I should have just stayed who I really was. And that leads me to this message, you guys. I'm no longer around people that try to alter me. Oh, you're too masculine. Oh, you're too feminine. Oh, you're acting like a hoe. First of all, I've never acted like a hoe. And I can tell that for sure. Like, I've never acted like a hoe. I've never worn skimpy clothing. I've worn clothing that I'm comfortable with because I have a cute, petite body. But I've never, you know what I mean? I've never worked it like a hoe would work it. I've always just been comfortable with my sexuality, with my feminine energy. That triggers people that are weak. I've never thrown myself out there like acting like a hoe. I've told crushes that I've liked them when I've liked them. It's just funny the things that people will like call you when they think that about themselves. I know who I am. I'm a lover. I'm not a fighter. I love you guys. But listen, now you guys, in my reality, my compassion, my genuine kindness, because it's genuine, my laughter, my smile, my personality, my bubbliness, my charisma. Now when that bothers people, and now when they try to do the same thing and try to put me down or try to get me to stop or try to give me a look, I understand now. I'm like, oh, I will never not be myself again. And I will never allow someone to make me feel like I have to change who I am again. I am a loving person, and I'm grateful for this body, mind, and spirit. I'm grateful for all the memories. Thanks for the memories, even if they weren't so good. That's not the lyric. But I love you guys. Be yourself. Don't let anybody change you, ever.